this, we will provide a link to the recorded session after we host it. So I'm going to get going here. I'm going to close up my go-to. Again, everyone will be in listen-only mode. So we're going to have as people have questions, we're going to do a little Q&A at the end, hopefully have at least about 10 minutes of time for Q&A at the end of the session. So as I jump in here and get things rolling, everyone should be able to see my screen. The session is recording, and we're going to go and jump over here on the right-hand side. So again, thank you so much. I'll go through a quick agenda as we kick things off here. For today's call, introductions, myself real quick, a few of my colleagues. What we're going to discuss is the new material relative to LEED v4 as we've now approved the draft version and things are going in. We'll give you a little background on what's going on there. We're going to walk you through a live demo of the software, so show you those features and how that criteria now works in GreenWizard. And of course, then we'll do a little Q&A at the end. So save those questions or feel free to start typing them in as we go along. We'll try to field as many of those as possible at the end of the session. So as we jump in here, I'm going to go through, and obviously, for those of you who are not aware, GreenWizard is one of the founding automation partners with USGBC. So we directly integrate to USGBC LEED Online. As we've already integrated our services and support for LEED version 3, we are beginning to build out, map those integration tools to support LEED v4. So very similar functionality. We actually just hosted a call with LEED Online, hit the team over there yesterday. So we got a little more input, and as those forms are being built out for LEED version 4, we'll be mapping to those directly. Hopefully much of this is then launched at Greenbuild. Something that's really important that I wanted to share specifically to this call is a lot of the key design firms in the industry have taken a very powerful stance on a lot of the criteria that are in version 4. These firms have really dug in here and written disclosure and transparency request letters from their firms, from their directors of sustainability, directly to the manufacturing community, asking for HPD information, EPD information, and just the level of transparency that's now required in what we're talking about for LEED v4. So really, really powerful. Obviously, just a couple of examples I've got here: Smith Group, HDR, HKF, Canon Design, Perkins & Will, Gensler, all of the firms that you guys are known, kind of household names and great customers of ours, many of them really, really taking a stance here, and it's helped tremendously drive the adoption and the knowledge base in the industry at this point. Going in here, a couple of the two criteria or the credit categories, of course, that we're going to focus here is MR and EQ. Within those categories, I really want to focus on MRC2, MRC3, and MRC4. You guys are, I'm sure, familiar with these categories now. Environmental product declarations, disclosure, optimization, and then material ingredients. So I'm going to dig in a couple of these, and I'm sure this is the draft language, as sure as everyone has read through multiple times now, but some of the requirements and how we specifically focus on those is with MRC2 is declarations and EPDs. So there's obviously a publicly available version of this lifecycle assessment piece on ISO 14044 and the EPD with the associated ISO ratings. We've captured this information. Those manufacturers that have EPDs and have flagged them as such, we're going to show you how to get to that information right inside of our system. The other part of MRC2 is the multi-attribute piece. So those that have given the LCA data, we've given you that information. You can then make the assessments on how that complies and the criteria for option 2 in MRC2. And of course, as the rules are being written, for those of you who are familiar with the way GreenWizard works, our calculator tools, and as we build to the credit forms, we'll be able to help you automatically populate this data, but also run the background calculations on the multiplying factors that are now part of the version 4 system. So it's just at the bottom with the 100-mile radius and having a 200% multiplier and such. That's coming. We're working with LEED Online to build out those forms as they finalize everything. Going into MRC3, disclosure and optimization. There's a couple key pieces of this one as well. Wood products. We're still following along with Forest Stewardship Council. So we've identified that information as well as backup documentation in the system. The material reuse, of course, is important to some materials and some product categories. And then, of course, recycled content, something we've already been focused heavily on, but again, easily disclosed, easily found in our system. Part of the other MRC4, disclosure optimization material ingredients, option 1 is, of course, what we're very, very familiar with now at this point, is this health product declaration. HPDC has really taken a great initiative in getting this out there, as I mentioned before, with those firms and that letters. We are the single source repository of those HPDs out in the industry. Manufacturers can come in and load that information into our system at no cost. Getting that out into the industry. Getting out into some of the other criteria, cradle to cradle. Obviously, a big one called out for B4 is the cradle to cradle certification and the multiple levels, again, getting into the multipliers as you begin to calculate that information. Option 2 is something new that's introduced, is green screen, version 1.2 benchmark. So we've already put that out there for manufacturers to mark themselves as having a green screen certification or declaration in our system. And again, the other option here is the multipliers I just mentioned, which is cradle to cradle, gold, platinum, silver, version 2, version 3, going out there, and then working on some alternative international compliance with REACH. Products eligible for EQ credits in GreenWizard. The focus here is really going to be on low emitting materials, EQ credit 2. So part of that, again, something that's rolled over right from version 3 is the VOC limit thresholds. Very easy. We're already captured, the exact VOC content that's been given by the manufacturers in our database. So that will, of course, just roll into the next version. Some of the additional features, though, are getting a little bit more complex. Obviously, some of the things we want to go through. Option 2 is budget calculations, and then the equation 3 is, again, these multipliers, this BIFMA standard and level version 1, 2, level 1, 2, and 3. Also capturing South Coast Air Quality Management District. So being able to find products that have this information that's labeled this way. So these are all the key factors that are specific to products and helping us identify this information in GreenWizard. So at this point, obviously you guys are familiar with some of the criteria. I want to dig into how this is searched out in our system. So I'm going to walk through a live demo of the software in GreenWizard. I'm going to jump up here and I'm going to log into the application. So let me log in here as a user. Go into my design or construction account, log into my dashboard here, and going right up here at the top, everything's going to be driven off this search page. So right at the top of the page, you'll see a new, in our sub-navigation here, there's a new section that says eligible for LEED v4. It's also in the section down here below where it says eligible for LEED v4 consideration. There's a little question mark you can pop up and get a little information on. Also important to note is some of the other criteria search that we've now listed in the system. HPD documents available, EPD or LCA documents available, etc. So important pieces, and I'm going to walk you through a whole bunch of variations on how we've determined specific criteria to find. So if I go here to eligible for LEED v4, I'm going to click on that. It's going to automatically go into our system, into our entire database, and pull back all products that may have one or multiple criteria that match those certifications, criteria, or declarations that we just talked about. You'll see at the very top of the page what we covered. EDs or HP documents, specific labels, declarations, or brands, cradle to cradle, BIFMA, AMD, SC, and green screen. Those are the criteria matches that we're trying to pull from. Additionally, the language has been written by USGBC for other groups as they come on or being approved, so we can accommodate for other information. So products eligible for LEED v4 consideration, meaning one or multiple of these. This is a pretty big subset of information already available in our database. So right now it's matching on every CSI master format division, and we can go into any one of these specific divisions and find some information. The other way this can be done, and I'm going to show you variations of all. You can go in here and show all and see the entire list, or you can specifically just do a view on a specific category. I'm going to go in here into what we've already got is our existing search criteria. And I'm just going to do, I'm going to kind of pick these off. I'm going to start with MRC2 and do a search for some EPD information. So we're going to go in here. I'm going to select, again, as a subscription customer, you've got additional benefits here or criteria to search by your projects in your library. I'm just going to pull from manufacturer-provided data. And I'm going to select EPD from this list. And then I'm just going to pick a CSI division. So let me go here, and I'm just going to pick masonry top level, and it'll find the EPDs available in that category. I'll go to search, and I've got 10 other products that are just matching on that specific criteria to go in and look at. So I can scroll down. You can see the basic criteria that are pulled in from this. And I can go in and kind of look through a couple of these. If I want to look, I'm just going to pick one of these details here. You've got product description information. So this is CalStar utility brick. Their SKU number, product description, detailed data here, green attribute information, and then all the information that's matching on that criteria. So here's their EPD. I can select that, and it's not going out to their website or a third-party site. They've hosted and put this information inside of our database. So as that pulls up in our browser here, I'm going to go back here, and I've also got their some brochure information. I've got their CalStar Smart Scorecard. So it's already pulled back their Smart EPD declaration in accordance with ISO 14025. Let me zoom out here for a second so you can get a full view of this PDF. So we can go through, and all the relevant information to this EPD is listed here in this document. Got their life cycle assessment, their phase descriptions, obviously some of the key environmental impact potential here. That obviously goes into option 2, as well as if you're doing a kind of a criteria that's below 50%, you can pull from this information as well. And of course, we want it's important that we have the backup documentation. It's been identified as having EPD. It's been identified as having a SMART certification. We want all that information at our fingertips here. So you've also got their SMART certification. They've got a platinum cert, their certification period. It's got their breakdown of points and how that's obviously compliant with the different ISO standards information here. So the benefit, again, is not only identifying the information, but as we begin to move these products into our projects and then move into a certification or submittal phase, the backup docs are already here for us to utilize. So that's one example of just straight searching for an EPD document in that particular area. Let's do another one here. We'll just kind of find some, we'll go back and same thing. We'll look for life cycle impact data or EPDs. I'll go to browse, and maybe I'll just go into this one. I'll find, I'll go to finishes. This is going to give us a much broader category. We did bricks, which is kind of a small subset of information. This is going to give us a much bigger result set. So now I've got 485 products with EPDs to pull from. So what I want to do here, and what we've already built in, is the ability to further filter down your search criteria. If I go here, now I've got a list of the manufacturers that provided EPDs that I can pick from. So I've got Armstrong, Forbo, Interface, Certainty, J&J, Tandis. There's a host of information. You can also go into certifications and declarations. If there's, you can additionally filter down not only having an EPD, but maybe you want something else. Maybe you want an NSF certification or Green Label Plus or SCS. Depending on what it is you're looking for, you can narrow that down. So let's just say I'm going to go for Forbo. I want to look at just 2 different manufacturers, J&J and Forbo for this one. Apply filter. Now you'll see here at the top, we've continued to knock down our criteria search. Again, if I go to view details, I'm going to get a full description of what this product, how it's disclosed, and what information is available. Detailed data, description, green attribute information, pre and post consumer content, DOC content, NAUF compliant, CA 1350 compliant. We've collected information for those manufacturers wish to disclose, not relevant to LEED B4 specifically, but the chemicals of concern by the Living Building Challenge. We've collected that information. They've disclosed that this is free of all those chemicals of concern. You've got their certifications that have been listed, And again, you've got all the backup documentation, warranty information, spec sheets, transparency brief. They've actually got both their brief and the full EPD document. So if I click on that, give that a second to pull up. And as that pulls up, we're going to go back here to list those product listings. And we've got the brief, warranty information, spec sheet, etc. So again, you've got their brief and the 53-page full disclosure document that Forbo's provided for us. So again, depending on the granular level of information, all of this is kept up to date by Forbo. All of this information is available at your fingertips depending on what you're looking for and depending on what criteria you're trying to find out of here. They've got obviously the full disclosure here. All right. So we're going to move a little bit ahead. So out of MRC2 and EPD information, and obviously option 2, let's go over to MRC3 and talk a little bit more about some of the criteria searched that way. So I'm going to go back here. So this one's more relevant to FSC products, to material reuse, to recycled content, to some other additional information. So I'm going to go here to search, and actually, let's do it this way. We're going to show you the eligible for LEED V4. We're going to go to this information a little bit different. So this way, again, it's filtering all this criteria down. So I'm going to click on, let's see what available. There's 924 products available in 06, top level and further down. So if I click view, same thing. It's just going to search that category with the criteria at the top. And again, we can go down here and filter down the criteria search. So if I click on this, as it begins to render, I can look at all the different manufacturers that have one or more products that meet that specific criteria. That can then again be matched up with certain information at the bottom. So if we're looking for something that's FSC, we've got 625 options, cradle to cradle, Green Guard, SCS, etc., Smartwood. So depending on how we want to filter that, or specifically call out or compare certain manufacturers, we can do that as well. Or for this one, you know, if I just want to find some FSC certified wood, I can go in here, view details, and very quickly identify what available wood is in here. So I've got their SCS certification, their license code, manufacturer and extraction distance zip codes. Again, for those that are subscription customers with GreenWizard, there's the ability to load projects in there and then also match against regionality. The free version of GreenWizard allows you to search the database. It just doesn't allow you to use the regional components and, of course, saving this information down into projects. So again, all their backup docs, all their relative FSC information. So a couple different ways to get to that as well. Using that kind of same example or that same path, if I wanted to go and look for a specific criteria, maybe I'm trying to figure out how my woods and plastics are going to help me with FSC commercial projects. It's going to be a much smaller component, but I could either narrow down by a certain manufacturer or simply go here and say, let me just see the FSC products that are in 0600 and filter that down further. So now you're going to have a subset of that information, and now just the 265 products are available. And again, we can filter those results even further down again. So now it's FSC and additional information. All right. I want to move into MRC4. So let's jump back here. Let's look at a couple different things. Obviously, the big part of MRC4 is going to be the HPDs. They're coming out of the market very, very rapidly. We've seen a huge increase in the last couple months with the letters of transparency that are going out requesting from design firms. So again, a couple different ways we can go and get this information. I can simply go to our dashboard on GreenWizard and search for HPDs. I can go in here and browse by specific categories. The way the rules are written here is we're using 20 different permanently installed products from 5 different manufacturers. So we're going to have to break that up. How are we going to find this information? Let's try to get some specialty products with HPDs. I can go in here and search. And you've got 14 different products that came back. So, and we've clearly identified the difference here between just the PDF documents, catalog, spec sheets, warranty information versus HPD documents. So you can quickly scan your search results page and find out what criteria this is matching. Obviously, HPD was a specific criteria, so only those products came back. Let me go in here and I can just click on this details. Again, coming down here, we've got our recycled content, our chemicals of concern is free, and if I click again, this the Terra from Alpar Architectural Products, it's going to go to their product listing and pull back the HPD document that they've loaded up. So I'm going to, while that's loading, and there it is. So as many of you guys know, right now HPD is a self-declared directly by the manufacturer. You can clearly see that checked off here as a self-declared section. As second-party and third-party availability comes into the market, that will obviously be captured in our system as well. But right now, it's self-disclosed by the manufacturers. We are working closely with HPD and the team and trying to get, as they have their HPD builder going live and launching, and collecting this information from all the manufacturers that wish to disclose this into our system. So that's one example of that. Again, just kind of showing how easy this is. I'll go back to search. So we've got one manufacturer, maybe we have a couple products from Alpar. Let's search for, let's go into maybe 0700 thermal and moisture protection, and same thing, we'll search for HPDs in that section. So again, we've got 12 different products. These criteria can be met based on your building type and your building design. And again, same thing, we can pull down the HPDs right from here. All right, some of the other part, obviously MRC4 is driven around not only HPDs, but you can also go by cradle-to-cradle certification. So if I want to go in here, I can search, again, let's use this eligible for LEED V4 criteria. So I'm going to go to eligible for LEED V4. I want to pick some cradle-to-cradle products that are out of 0900, let's say. I've got over 1,000 products that meet one or more of these criteria. I'm going to hit view. It's going to pull back my results set. And as that begins to load, what I really want to do here is I'm just going to filter my results again. I want to go to filter my search criteria. Oh, sorry, didn't open that all the way up. There we go. And again, I can pull from all these manufacturers, depending on what the criteria is, or I'm going to define the criteria first. I'm going to go down here, and I'm just looking for cradle-to-cradle. Apply that filter. And I can go in here and, depending on what I'm looking for, kind of pull back some different product information. Cradle-to-cradle cert. So let's go to this construction specialty. It's got rigid sheet vinyl wall coverings. View details. Got a nice listing. Again, there's always product images and things like that, depending on how the product's listed. There's multiple images. Interior finishes, obviously, are specific. We can go in here, product details and performance, green attribute information. It's listed as cradle-to-cradle certified, and then you can go in here to cradle-to-cradle certification doc and pull back what they've got. So it's going through all the materials and all the disclosure of chemicals, etc. All right, so let's go into a little bit deeper here. So, of course, the other piece, as I mentioned before, is taking this information and then rolling in the multipliers. We're working with LEED Online directly as they give us, actually next week, we should have some additional feature or internal building process for the multipliers and the credit forms that are being finalized. A lot of our customers, a lot of you are working on V4 beta projects, helping them to tweak and refine and lock down the credit forms themselves. Once we get those in our hands, we'll be able to supply what we've done with V3, which is a actual tracking document as you're loading in materials into the system. and into your projects, we can then create the multipliers that meet certain criteria. Green screen version 1.2, I didn't see any of those products listed yet by manufacturers. We went through the cradle-to-cradle piece that are specific. Let's go through some of the products that are eligible for low emitting materials, EQC2. So we'll go back out here. And again, notice on the search screen, we've already got functionality. We've had this criteria that's relative to V3 is searching by specific VOC content. This is not anything super hard or difficult. We've already got that information in the system. So if you're looking for a specific VOC threshold, or if you're looking for something specifically based on that, a very, very low or zero VOC content, you can use that and then combine it with a master format search or a manufacturer name search to find a material you're looking for. Let's just do something that's going to be pretty common. We'll go into finishes, and we'll do a paints and coatings section. We can even drill down a little bit further if there's a specific, we'll do 0991, and let's just search those products first. So you'll already see here we've got 153 different products just in the specific sub-level of 0991. If I refine that search, I want to even get a bigger subset of that. I'm going to go and bring it back up one, just 0990. Pull that back. So you've got 924 products that are listed at paints and coatings level. So depending on what I'm looking for, I can go in here and you can see all the VOC content already identified, 46, 42, 45, depending on what the information is they're looking for. So what I would do here is, to show you how this works, 924. Let's refine this. Click at the top of the page and refine search. Let's knock out any product that has more than 50 grams per liter or percent by weight, or I'm going to do 50 grams per liter percentage of that category. So we had roughly, what, 924 products that had that. Now we're down to 580. So everything below here, you'll see 0990 VOC content of 50 or below. So let's just keep knocking this down. I'm going to cut that in half, and I'm going to knock it down to 25 grams per liter. Reduce that even further. So now we're at 411. We still got a lot of product manufacturers that are putting it out there. So let's go to the inevitable. We're just going to put 0 grams per liter and see what we come back with. So we're going to go down here to 0. So we went from 924 to, we can quickly identify 368 manufacturers that have listed their products in the system with 0 grams per liter or less VOC content. Again, now that we've met at least one criteria that we're looking for, let's search and narrow it down again. You've got a lot of manufacturers to pick from. So depending on who you spec or manufacturers that you particularly work with, you can easily go here and say, you know, we're going to select Benjamin Moore. We're going to pick, say, Roseburg Talbert, Rust-Oleum, Sherwin-Williams, and we'll look at one more. We'll just pick those 4 for right now. So we can go down here, apply filter. So now we're just looking at those 4 particular manufacturers that have 0 VOC content or lower, or none. And again, you can continue to refine your searches and continue to knock down the search result set. So I'm going to filter this down again. So now we're just looking at these 4 manufacturers, 178 products. What are those 4 manufacturers particularly may need to have in common, or may need for you to call them out or spec them out? GreenWizard Gold certification, Green Seal, they've got South Coast Quality Air Management. So actually, let's do that. South Coast, and apply filter. What are my options? So here we go. I've got some Sherwin-Williams products. Oh, actually, I can quickly tell you how many. If I just go back to filter, it looks like Sherwin-Williams is the only one with those criteria search. So now I've got anything from them to pull from. And again, you've got their, you know, supporting documents, spec documents, MSDS sheets, etc. All right. The last one I wanted to touch on was still related to EQ Credit 2, but that is kind of option 2, getting into level certification. Of course, this is going to specifically focus on interior products, and it's really going to focus specifically on furniture materials. So I'm going to go in here, and again, eligible for LEED V4. So you can, 2 different ways of just kind of flip-flopping, so you got some different options and seeing how this works in different fashions. So we're going to go in here at furnishings. I'm going to go to view. I've got 676 products that meet one of those criteria. And as that loads up, so let's filter our search results. For this example, I want to start pulling out level as one of the callouts. You'll see it here in our filter criteria. You've got level 1, level 2, and level 3. This is BIFMA. This is specifically called out in EQ Credit 2. So let's look at some of this. I'm going to select level here. Now, this is not an and or. This is a binary in a sense. So if I select level 1 and level 2, it's going to cancel each other out. I can't select 1, 2, and 3. As opposed to the manufacturers at the top where it says products filtered at least one of the selected manufacturers, this must have all of the selection labels or declarations. So you want to do these one at a time and continue to narrow down your search. Apply filter. So we've got 226 products. You'll notice the level certification coming up. Let's scroll down here as this pulls up. Give that a second. Actually, let's take a quick peek and see what manufacturers are coming back. HBF, Innescape, Gunlock, Hayworth. So you've got quite a few different options to pull from. And again, if you want other criteria searches, you can surely pick on those. I want to pick on, let's just look at one of these, this HBF product, view details. So now we're talking specifically to furniture, some additional criteria here, and let's look just to verify that they've got their level certification here loaded. So there they've got their SDS Global Level 1 cert, a registration number, valid date, all that information is there here at your fingertips. Let's drill this down a little bit lower. So let's redo that same search. Instead, I want to go through level 2 and level 3 and so see what other information, how much I can get out of those furniture products. So I'm going to browse, and I'll go to furnishings here. Select eligible for V4. It's going to take us to the same place. Search for products. 676. Actually, I'm just going to skip level 2, and we're going to go right to level 3, the highest level that they offer. Filter my search results, and let's go down here, and it looks like there's only 12 products available with level 3. So apply filter. So we've got, let's see if we have more than one manufacturer. It looks like Hayworth is in there for sure. So Global and Hayworth are the 2 companies that provide products in those categories with that level 3 cert. So if I go here again, view details, look at this Hayworth product. So free of all chemicals of concern, level 3 BIFMA. They also have a GreenWizard certification from UL Environment. They've got their third-party documents as well. So lots of different features here. Depends on how you're looking for it. Depends on what product you're looking for. So very, very powerful, but very, very helpful in terms of looking at the landscape across the industry. This information is changing dramatically day to day, week to week. Manufacturers are putting in more HPDs, LCA data, EPD data coming out as they're preparing for LEED version 4 to hit the market, getting their certifications in line, getting this information, and updating their listings in GreenWizard. So I hope that was a helpful overview of all the different criteria search that are product specific. Want to go in here, and it looks like I've seen my colleague here frantically typing away and going through questions, so I know there's some questions and things going on. Let me jump back in here, and it looks like we've got about 10 more minutes, if just under that. So we'll do a little bit of Q&A, and let's just go through some of the questions. Have you been answering some of that stuff, or do we want to, go through a couple of those. So let me go through my question box here. Just going to roll through a couple of these. Here we go. Information stored, EPD information stored in green products. Actually, that's looks like SCS is on the call. They're actually wondering if we can build out direct integration to API to support back and forth new SCS certifications that come online. Surely something we can surely look into, and something we want to keep is SCS, cradle to cradle, others. There's so much information quickly coming online. We want to get that out of the marketplace as fast as possible. So surely something we'd love to talk to you guys about. We've got a question here with wall coverings. Go through a couple. Let me see a couple of these. Let's see, we can go here. Can we see what the My Products list looks like after you've loaded the product into it? So this question is relevant to adding a product into a project. That actually might be something this is worthwhile showing, although it's not relevant specifically to V4 yet, as we haven't built out the credit forms. Let me just show you here real quickly what this looks like. As you begin to find a product, load the product into either your library or your projects themselves. If I go here to projects, I can go down and let me click on one of my projects that I've got a bunch of information. So I've got a demo for LEED Tools project already loaded up. Basically, this is a project dashboard. I've got product information already loaded. I've got 132 products that are already loaded into the system, into this project, that have come from our database, other. This is what the product directory looks like. Those products get loaded in and saved. All the underlying information gets loaded into these, is already loaded into these products. You'll see here that there's a little tag under MR. If I roll over that, it tells me what criteria it's including it for. If I scroll down further, this is organized by CSI division. So as I scroll down here a little bit further, you're going to start to get into IAQ credits as well. So we'll get into paint. There you go. So you've got paints and coatings, adhesives and sealants, things like that. All the underlying information. And then what we do with this as a workflow section is going into the tool section, and then I've got an MR product tracker and an IAQ product tracker. So for right now, these are built to LEED V3 standards and the criteria search for them, or the criteria underneath them. So I go over to that. It automatically populates this spreadsheet, which all of us have been using in version 3 up until this point. It pulls all the products that are relevant to the particular credit category. So you'll see here, I've got, let me knock this down. I don't want to show all the credits. Just to make it easy, I'm going to take out reused, rapidly renewable, and certified wood. So we'll just look at the existing criteria for version 3, MR4 and 5. If I hit save, it's going to automatically just show me those criteria, and it's already populated all the criteria from the database of that product information right into this tracking sheet. And then it calculates how it applies to your particular project. You've got a total project material cost over here, and it's basing the cost of the product that the team has entered against the criteria, the post-consumer, pre-consumer, the regional criteria. Let me blow this up here into a print preview window, as you can use this as a tracking tool. And all this information, as it will with version 4, with just some different rules and some tweaks that we're building out, will show you how your products you've selected are helping you meet certain criteria or certain credit levels. So you'll see here, if there's missing information, they're clearly marked in red. All the fields marked in green are already populated and filled in, meaning they're also calculating, contributing. So if you scroll here through this whole list of all these materials, even though we've got a bunch of data missing here for regional content, if I scroll all the way to the bottom, this project is well over the threshold of 29.46%, garnering 2 points out of it. So this is the next phase of our version 4 tracker piece. This is version 3. Version 4 is, as I mentioned, the multipliers for regionality, the multipliers for cradle to cradle, some of the other criteria we're building in and we'll be launching here shortly. Working very closely with LEED Online to get that information locked down and available into the system. And I got another question in that actually followed up that one. It says, can you search GreenWizard by products for LEED version 2009? Still, absolutely. So what I hope I made clear here is the existing criteria for LEED version 3, 2009, is already available. It's already in our system. We're taking that additional level of transparency and disclosure and adding that into the product listings, adding it into the tools for the search feature, and then what I just showed you here is adding that information into the project-specific tools to help you calculate over your project. I had a question about coming up with the VOC thresholds, determining category items for VOC. Is there anything in GreenWizard that helps you determine the thresholds that will hit, i.e., absolutely. So what we've already done is, and again, we just need to lock down our credit forms. This is perfect. Let me show you the IQ tracker, which is already what that is. So the products themselves have shown IQ or VOC thresholds, how we searched them out and found certain ones. As you add those products to your project, the VOC content here is listed here on in this third column, VOC content, 45, 48, 42, 46. What our system does is VOC content is dependent on how the product's being used in the context of your project. So if I go here to this resilient tile flooring product, I have to select the product usage from this category. I click the tracker. I want to track this material, and then I need to determine how I'm using it as a material in my project. So I roll over with the pencil. It's going to now ask me to see how I'm using the product. So adhesive and sealant, yes. Paints or coating, no. Is the product used on a flooring? Yes. Now it's going to give me a specific drop down exactly as the LEED version 2009 forms is giving me my threshold. So this is an adhesive. I'm just going to pick one for subfloor. Let's pick. Once I do that, I save it. Our system automatically knows what the VOC limit is for that. So the VOC limit is 50 grams per liter for adhesive subfloor. So we fall within the threshold of 45. Let me go in here and I'm going to change that. Oh. And it'll change the threshold as well. So let's go in here. We'll do sealant primer, just as an example. Hit save. It's going to give me a different threshold, 775 grams per liter. So it's pulling this information directly from the LEED credit forms. We've mapped them one-to-one, which is why we can take the data here, populate the credit forms, and then send that all into LEED Online. All right, let's go through a couple more questions, and I know we're coming right up to the end here. We had budgeted for about a 45-minute webinar here, but wanted to give ourselves a little bit extra room. I've got some additional information. I do apologize. Any questions we don't get to, we will surely follow up with after the session. Does GreenWizard plan to include material requirements for Living Building Challenge? We do have some requirements already built in LBC. As I mentioned, with the chemicals of concern, the 14 carcinogens called out in LBC. We are the only other place that is tracking and collecting declare product listings. From that search page, we have declare as a search criteria. So any product that is has a declare declaration certification is marked in our system and can quickly be found. There's some additional features and functions and rollouts that we have planned that will also help support further services for those seeking Living Building Challenge projects. All right, go in here. We'll go into it. Let me get a couple more in here. Can you talk about the general timeline for getting more credits to work in GreenWizard with the direct connection to LEED version 4? So just a little bit of background. Unfortunately, I don't have any hard deadlines. As you guys all know, USGBC is a little bit gray in some of their rollout, and they have not put specific dates for us to map directly to. The most updated news I can give everyone is, as I mentioned, we did speak with LEED Online yesterday. We've got to call the integration services next week to get hopefully some finalized credit form dates and information. As those are rolled out, we will be mapping directly behind them. I know that there has been some talk about kind of highlighting some projects in beta version as other at GreenBuild. That's part of their whole plan. It's really up to them to meet those timelines. If they can meet the deadlines they're setting, we would surely love to map to them and work with them as well. So a little bit, almost all of that lies on their shoulders, unfortunately. I wish I could provide a little bit more information on that. I've got 3 more questions if I can get through them real quick. Is it possible to get a demo log into GreenWizard so we can further evaluate the program? Absolutely. It is 100% free to create an architect or design account. You can go to greenwizard.com and log in for free, begin searching the system, and evaluate as you see fit. Do you know when USGBC will releasing technical guidance for V4 before or after GreenBuild? I do not know when they'll be doing that. I've got a bunch of questions, including one for myself on the kind of technical handbook that will be released that has not, to my knowledge, been made publicly available. I believe it's still in draft form. And the other part of that question was MRC3 option 1 and MRC4 option 3 were not discussed. Are they work in progress? Yes, there's some additional criteria, some additional thresholds that we're working on. One of those specifically with a couple criteria in terms of product information being released. Your chemical abstract service registration number, your CAS RN is something we're working with and looking into as it begins to play more of a factor in the industry. And there's some additional features that we're rolling out. So anything related specifically that manufacturers can provide in our system is something we want to roll into and account for in GreenWizard as well. And are manufacturers limited to the database, or is it open to all manufacturers regardless of any sort of sponsorship in GreenWizard? Absolutely. It is 100% free for manufacturers to come in and load their product information. This is a data-driven site, so it's not a copy and content-driven database. That's how we can search specific criteria and specific results. The manufacturers can come in and disclose and load that information for free. There is no cost involved in that. There are lots of additional features and functions for manufacturers to market and integrate them, or integrated marketing services, but the listings to get their product into our database and get it publicly available is 100% free. And the question came in, when will the recording be available? We will probably post this out to our blog, possibly this afternoon, most likely, without any promises. Tomorrow it will be publicly available and shared out via web link. I'd be happy to follow up with a thank you email to everyone who attended the session today with a link to that recording. And with that being said, I'd like to wrap up today's presentation. Thank you all for attending. Thank you all for such great questions. I hope this is informative. Please contact any of us here at GreenWizard with additional questions, both on the manufacturing side or the design construction side. We'd love to follow up if any questions didn't get answers. Follow me directly. Be happy to talk additionally. So we will make that available and send out a thank you. Again, everyone enjoy their afternoon, and we'll be signing off here from GreenWizard. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.